Well, Happy New Year to everyone on this New Year's Day where we recognize Mary, the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of God. It's also a time, usually, for most of us, where we take stock of our life at this point. Our life is a path of tribulations and God's consolation. We have another life outside this life towards which we travel. Each day, we're gathering every day the materials for the wedding feast of the Lamb. Time represents this reality of this life, and then the moment where it all stops for us, we will leave time and enter eternity. Only in this life can we obtain merit for the next. Fill it with love for God and those around us, and a life filled with good works, and that is a good life. Many funerals I do, people have these ideas about, how much did so-and-so leave? That's really not what the angels and saints say when someone dies. They say, how much did they take with them? Not how much did they leave? How much did they take with them? How many good works are in their life? Had they been faithful to Jesus from the beginnings of meeting him, and then also in that moment of death where he was so present as well. St. Josemaria says, "Short indeed is our life for loving, giving, and making atonement. It is wrong then to waste it." At this moment then, we can kind of think for a moment, have we wasted our time this past year? Have we let go of the cross and complained at a moment where it's presented to us to either complain or remain silent? Are we closer now more to Jesus than ever before? Are we closer each year to him? We certainly are by time-wise, but are we closer to him in our love life? Let us do good to all men because of Jesus while we still have the time. Acts of contrition, thanksgiving, these are things that we must spend our life doing and not fall into a spiritual mediocrity, giving little when it comes to alms, ignoring graces that are given. It's good at this point, too, to thank God for the graces that we're unaware of from the past year. God really does sustain us in so many ways throughout the year, but he loves us so much that we receive graces that we don't even realize. And so we should thank him for even those. We have countless reasons also at the end of a year to ask for God's forgiveness and make an active resolution in the biggest area of our life that needs conversion. What if this was the last year that God gives us, that we had? How would we spend our time this year? How would we do it? It's a good question. It's a good question to think about. If this was the last year God gave me, how would I spend it? Every day, how would I spend it? Worshiping God, doing good for our family, friends, especially those who could never repay us, watching for opportunities to do good for someone in need especially, and giving to the one church Christ founded, praying for a deep fervor of zeal for God's kingdom, loving God above all things and people, and loving all things and people that are dear to God. Mary is our beautiful mother. Our devotion to her will be an intimacy with Christ as we begin this new year with Mary at our side. She is captivating if we think about it for a moment. According to the art scholar Kenneth Clark, the Annunciation of Mary is the most recreated scene in the history of painting. It's magnetic, that scene of Mary and the Archangel Gabriel. And you and I, still in the Christmas season, are reminded of Mary, our mother, keeping all the memories of Jesus and pondering them in her immaculate heart. Christmas is a season to focus on Jesus. There is no better way to learn from Mary than from Mary. To look at him with the loving eyes of Our Lady. St. John Paul II invites us to contemplate Mary's gaze upon her child, The contemplation of Christ has a remarkable model in Mary, he says. In a unique way, the face of the Son belongs to Mary. It was in her womb that Jesus was formed, receiving from her a human resemblance, which points to an ever greater spiritual closeness. No one has ever devoted himself to the contemplation of the face of Christ as faithfully as Mary. Let us consider a few points to conclude. Let us place an image of the Blessed Virgin Mary in a very visible place in our home, so that when people walk in, we show them that we love Mary, that we love our Blessed Mother. Secondly, let's honor her by a regular prayer to her, asking for her intercession. For example, the Rosary, the Angelus, the Memorare, right? Even a Hail Mary each day, if we pray that, is a good thing to do. All the saints of history have two main things in common in their life. One is a strong Marian devotion, and also a big love for the Eucharist. Those are two things that every saint has. Consider among your family plans then for this year to visit a Marian shrine if you have the opportunity. Our Lady of Guadalupe is just in La Crosse, Wisconsin, or even another holy site. When you go to Mass on your vacation, visit the Marian statue there in that church, and there better be one in that church, and pray a Hail Mary for a family member who needs it the most that day. And God knows who that is, and He will situate those graces. Mary, our Immaculate Mother, as we begin this new calendar year, stay by our side. Help us to follow Jesus more closely.